anybody that was watching the live earlier and didn't know who Mica Miller or JP Miller were when I was talking about it, I'm just going to quickly get you up to speed. This here's JP Miller. This was the beautiful Mica Miller. She was found as a self-unaliving in April, however, very suspect. So in May, they released that her unaliving was you can read based on surveillance footage, interviews, physical evidence, and the examination of the North Carolina Medical Examiner's Office. So they reported that around on April 27th, around that time frame, a 911 call was placed by a woman saying that she wanted the phone call traced because she was going to unalive herself and wanted her family to find her body. So they traced the call and they sent the deputy to the park where they found the car that was registered to Mica. Now, conveniently, they located all these. You can read on it yourself, screenshot and read that yourself. But conveniently, receipts and everything was all just right there for everybody to see. Also, conveniently, there was a person, a witness, that heard a cry and then heard that after right after the 911 call was reported, blah, blah, blah. Because then, of course, there was a witness. It also revealed that her estranged husband had been separated and they were involved in the legal system. So it was really weird. He was having an affair. And it's even weirder because this man groomed Mica. She was part of this religion, call it what you want. I call it a cult, but whatever you want to call it. And when she was like in her teens and he was already married, he started like grooming her, and then later she became his wife. So he has children, but not with her. Now, here's just a little piece on her. This is what they listed it as. But as you can see, she filed for the divorce 2 days prior to that. All sorts of suspects. So everybody was questioning it, like, why? She was happy. If I want you guys to go look, she had TikToks and she was doing stuff to talk about DV and getting out of bad situations, writing songs, going to like little groups of therapy, and was doing things to better herself. So nobody was like, okay, this woman's literally not all right. Like, she seemed perfectly able, and even her own family was like, man, she had stated that if something were to happen, that it would be JP, because he was tracking where she was going and he was monitoring what she was doing, and she was scared. So that was already listed, and then like nobody questioned it. And the fact that they were still married, even though they were going through a separation, JP got to make the call to have her cremated. Her family didn't get that right. And I was confused because, maybe someone can chime in, even though they were legally, separating, and she had just filed to divorce 2 days prior. Was it because the divorce wasn't final that he was able to make the call, not the family? Because, man, got to make sure your will's updated on the clock. Nobody wants that kind of stuff happening. So he had left his residence 2 minutes prior to the FBI agents arriving, and they found him at Starbucks. So if you see here, he wasn't there, but then they did take him in for questioning. He was already questioned too, because he was making all these weird part of his church sermons that he would make, and he was out there with his sermons. He would take the actual Bible and twist it to manipulate what he wanted people to get from it. So he would read something that was from the Bible and then switch the meaning of it just for his own purpose to preach to his people, and they would listen to it. And this guy was filtering money. They had ended up getting a plane, and they just had to pay for the parking of the plane. His sermons were way far out there. I do have one that I'm going to play for you guys when he announces when she's no longer alive. And you can see how eerie and creepy it is. A lot of the videos were removed by him because I'm sure his attorney was like, yo, bro, you can't be having these up there, because a lot of his sermons, he was bashing his wife. Now, there was a lot of reports going on. Here's the feds at his house. But there was a lot of reports. I mean, obviously, he's living pretty decent, right? And so the community was paying for him and doing all of these crazy things so he could have this nice life. And the wife knew a lot of that ins and outs. Also, while he was having affairs, he had admitted to, having a high overdrive, but he would use these young women that were from the church and groom them. So, like, everybody's going to overlook the fact that J.P. Miller was a creep, like, and talk to pretty much every beautiful woman, regardless of age, inside of the community. Like, this guy really needed to have a deep search, and I'm surprised that the video stayed up as long as they did. There's a couple clips you could find, um, but I do want to show you like how crazy he was, because even when his wife would go against him and she first mentioned separation, he had her committed, saying she was crazy and had to take medications, and the girl was fine. She was just speaking out against it. And so of course now he labels her as crazy, so that way it fits the narrative, right? This woman was a beautiful soul. Like, look at her, flawless. And she was sweet and she was kind. And anything you could see in all the videos, if you look at her and just put like Mica Miller videos or Mica Miller on TikTok, you could see how genuine of a person she really had a big heart. And she got manipulated. Again, this is a common theme, and it's really sad that this happens all over the place on a constant basis. I'm going to drop this video clip for you guys. I want you to see it, and then let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, because, man, I'm really hoping this family gets some justice. Either if she did take her own life, it was because of this man, but I honestly believe it's him. I honestly believe it. There's more to this story. We've already went on a deep dive on it prior, so I'll start bringing some of that back up, just because now the feds have now dug, and maybe we'll get a case going so this guy can be tried for something.
Today, I'm going to have you stand up, and I'm going to make an announcement. And after the announcement, I'm going to ask that you leave church quietly and don't talk about the announcement here in the building, please, if you can, so y'all can stand to your feet. Before I make the announcement, I also want to say that my request to you is that you will continue to come to church and serve and give for the next little bit. I don't want to have. I'm taking a little bit of a break, and I don't want to have to worry about the church. My break may be a few days, a few weeks. I don't know. I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away, and yeah, it was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina, and we're gonna have a funeral for her next Sunday here at 3 p.m. And so it's all I can. Yeah, I'm just kind of going on adrenaline right now. So y'all pray for me and my kids and everybody. And she wasn't. Y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally, and that she needed her medicine that was hard to get to her. And so I'm sure there'll be more details to come. But just keep our family in your prayers. And I'm going to let Pastor Randall, Bishop, he can pray.